I'm a lucky man, Vladimir. Do you have any idea why, eh? No, tell me, Pavel. Why are you so lucky? Because I'm 50, and no men in my family have ever seen so many winters. Truly? Truly. My father's father was born a serf and was crushed in the fields, trampled by his master's horse just a year before emancipation. That was the year of 1860, and my own father was only 2. Pavel shrugged. As for Papa, well, his dream was to buy the land he farmed, but he died in misery of tetanus. And brothers? Both killed in the war. Any sisters? One, but she disappeared nearly 20 years ago, not long after the revolution broke out. Just where she is today, or if in fact she's still alive, I have no idea. Tugging the blanket tightly around him, Vladimir suddenly started laughing. I'm sure everyone in my family thinks I'm long dead by now. Staring at the other man through the flickering yellow light and studying his grandfatherly face, Pavel couldn't help chuckling. Yes, he saw it quite clearly. You know, Vladimir, if you weren't so thin, you'd make the perfect Father Frost, with your big gray beard and those twinkling eyes. Yes, in spite of everything, I can still see the spark in you. You'd be fit for any New Year's celebration. Perhaps. Holding up his dirt-caked hands, he laughed and said, But first I have to sit in a banya for a day or two to steam off all this filth. The two of them sat at the crackling fire in silence for quite a long while, the darkness of the night seeping more and more densely around them. And Pavel found it wonderful. Such peace, such quiet. If only, he thought, this night would never end. Finally, Vladimir cleared his throat and said, So go on, tell me everything. I need to hear it all, you know. Well, my point is that she was really hard to eliminate. Struck by the length of time that had passed since that fateful night, could it really be 18 years? Pavel fell silent. And yet he could still see it in his mind's eye with such startling clarity. Yes, there she was standing in the cart, singing that hymn, and there he was, shoving her along the rutted lane, leading her right up to the edge. Vladimir asked, Why was it hard? Because she was so beautiful? True, she was astonishing. People would just stop and stare. Imagine she was the most beautiful bride in Russia, married first to the worst of the Romanovs, and next to Christ. But no, it wasn't difficult because of all that. Then, because her sister was none other than our tsaritsa, the former tsaritsa, Alexandra Fyodorovna, as part of the royal family, she must have been well guarded at all times. Well, you have a point. Before she abandoned society, she was flanked by the best of soldiers. But no, we could have gotten through. After all, we assassinated many other notables, including, her husband. Then why? Why was that one so hard to do away with? Because she had taken to the cloth? Pavel shrugged. Call it what you like, but she did seem to have some sort of divine protection. For example, while it only took us a few weeks of plotting before we blew up her husband, it took years upon years for her. That's how powerful she was. The soul is much mightier than the body, of course, muttered Vladimir. So, in those final days, did she have anything interesting to say to you? Oh, a great deal. She was under my direct watch, and we talked for hour upon hour. And what in the name of the devil did she speak of? Actually, we told each other the stories of our lives. And the most interesting thing she told me was also the strangest.
Chapter 1. Ella. Though of course I was the granddaughter of the doyenne of sovereigns, Queen Victoria, I did not grow up in luxury by